Welcome back to another episode of the Baseball Card Junkies podcast. I am your host, Mr. Enfuego, and I'm also here with Arnie from thecarddeal.com, and I'm also here with Mike from Ripping for Rookies. How's it going, gentlemen?
How we doing?
How are you, fellas?
How was the week for us?
The week itself was okay. It got much better today with the celebration of life for Steve Marquez. And now we're here tonight talking about some other kinds of stuff.
There we go.
Can't complain.
Awesome.
What's up, Maddie?
Same here.
Walking Beast.
So, we got my brother in the chat. We got Maddie. We got Larkin, and we got Beast. How you gentlemen doing? Larkin, how's it going? So yeah, it's I don't even know where to start really, but as far as I guess we could go ahead and go into reviews since now both Arnie and Mike has got their hands on Stadium Club already, and so Mike, this being your first go around and actually breaking the product. Any thoughts?
I'm very happy to get in on the hobby boxes when they were at $140 a box. They're no longer on Fanatics. I just happened to luck in and go on the tops when they were on sale, and I bought them I bought 3 boxes for $140 a box. Now they're going for about $180, $190 ish on Dave and Adams and the other retailers. And I have a feeling those prices are only going to go up because Stadium Club this year, I really think they have outdone themselves with the parallels, with the colors of the cards. The red is an actual total red background, the green, the gold. Black's a little tough to see. You really have to keep an eye out for the black foils. It's more like a smoky gray color background. But with 2 autographs in there, and I've seen a lot of boxes where, the players were not that great or not well known, but we did three boxes today in a break, and I think kind of hit it out of the ballpark with the autos and the numbered cards and the parallels that we pulled out of it. More than, 4 times back on just the 3 hobby boxes that I had. If you're going to sell the cards,
right.
But that's not going to be every hobby box. I've seen some cases that weren't that good. I've seen cases that were as good, but then again, you get 16 boxes in a case. So if you're really looking to get into a break or something like that, I would suggest to if you're just looking for your team, go into a complete box breaks, because then you have the chance for the case hit and all of that stuff. So yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. I think it's for the price, it's the second best product that was released this year. 2023 Topps Platinum Anniversary, which I know it's 2023, but it came out this year. That was my number 1 for the price point, and this would be number 2 at the price point.
Awesome. Arnie, what are your thoughts on Stadium Club this year?
I think everything that Mike said, even despite that real big hit that he pulled today, take away that one big card, it's still a great release. Probably about 15% too much in price. Otherwise, quality, variety, the new parallels, the true bleed, full bleed backgrounds, and the golds, the reds, the greens, the green chrome. Usually I don't like more parallels and more changes, but I understand it because you got to produce more product. The hobby's bigger now, but I just hope that they don't keep tweaking this higher and then drop us lower and get rid of that 2 auto, kind of like they did with Chrome Update and Chrome, where it was 2 autos and then, Jumbo was 3 to 5. Now or 5 to 3. I just hope they keep it the same. Try to keep the price close as you can. I get it. It'll go up a little bit, but yeah, here's the thing. I know the prices are what they are. So if this is going to be the trend, buy your boxes early. That's all.
Yes.
If you like a personal
that
break,
is the trend.
Breaks are different because it's not, your costs absorbed by 30 other people or 29 other people. So it's not as big of a hit to your wallet. So maybe my Indians cost 35 next year instead of 28 this year because there's not Indians in the case. So that's no problem, right? But if you're looking at it from a single box break where you're going to buy 2 each year of each release, that's your budget for the month or whatever release comes out, save yourself 30% and just get the boxes early. Sign up on Topps.com, get the notifications. It's come in your box an hour early and then a day prior. So it'll tell you, hey, 12 o'clock Eastern, Pacific, whatever time you're in, and just make sure you're available. And a lot of people aren't at work, so have a friend do it. Ask your wife, ask a friend, ask a cousin, anything. But
there you go.
Off the money because we're talking 180 to 210. Yeah, I mean 140 plus tax, so you're in it for 155 all delivered.
Yeah.
Well, in the chat right now, they're saying blowout. They're calling for $219.99.
Oh,
yeah, I believe it. And I think the other thing about this product that nobody's really mentioning, the inserts, there's not a bad insert in there. All of the inserts,
it's a good product really nice. Overall. And it's here's what it is. I think we've talked about our favorite releases over the years with all the higher end stuff.
All right, we're gonna have to fill in. Arnie's on mute.
So, okay, so if I'm not mistaken, I believe last year's Stadium Club is when they first introduced the compact box. Okay, and if I'm not mistaken, retail, i.e., blasters, was actually the way to go. Would that be the case this year?
Yeah. I haven't seen that many blasters opened up. I actually opened up one for myself today, and I got a black. I got 8 red parallels out of there. Nothing really major out of it. So, I mean, one box isn't going to tell you anything about it.
Right.
But yeah, the compact box actually started with Archives last year and then carried over to Stadium Club. And they haven't done that again until Stadium Club this year with the compact box. At least I don't believe so. So, the compact box is just a smaller version. You want autograph, I believe, half the amount of cards. So it's pretty much half of a hobby box that's in there. But I think you have a better chance of getting, numbered cards and items like that out of there, because the blaster, I don't think I pulled a number card. I just opened it up just to see what it was like.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, obviously we all know Stadium Club is known for the photography of the cards, which I mean, that's top notch. You really can't, there's nothing that comes close to it. Now, the inserts, for example, in last year's edition, the Beam Team was pretty much every other pack, and I'm just speaking fictitiously. Now, for this one, it's deemed a case hit.
The case hit, correct.
Now, I can see why, because the design of it, phenomenal, in my opinion.
Do I have that?
Then you got some other ones. You got what? You got the Power Pack. You got the Special Forces.
Yeah.
So
there's the Beam Team card.
Yeah,
that's really nice.
It really is
really nice,
and I'm glad to see they're making common inserts from previous years more scarce. Like I know it was a live stream that Arnie was holding yesterday, and there was a photographer's proof that he pulled yesterday.
Yeah,
and those are really rare because the print run is only 25 per player.
Yeah, I saw Mike Trout pulled in a case break.
And I think you also said there's another variation that's numbered, that it's a print run of 12. They're not numbered, but only 12 of them, even smaller than that 25. Photographers, and then is it first day issue or first day release?
And there's also the 3D cards in there that are very rare too.
I pulled 2 of those last year, and they both came back a 10. Frank got the Harper, and then Adam got the Acuna, and I haven't seen any of them pulled yet.
The other real rare insert is the members only.
Correct.
Yes.
Yep.
And that one has a print run of 25.
Wow. Yeah, that's. Maybe they're trying to get this to be more of a premium product. I don't know. We'll see what they're trying to do.
And And I can understand why, because I mean, it's like they put time and effort into putting the product together. You know, it would be nice if they took these photos and put them in flagship, but you know, that's wishful thinking.
Yeah.
And who knows? It's like every year the prices of this product is actually slowly going up 10 to 20%.
Yeah.
Upon release.
Well, just so you guys know, on the dealer side, it's 40% for Bowman Draft already. That's the word, 40% increase.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and we'll go into that here in a little bit, but
just for a little bit.
It's a lot of it's an increase. That's all that matters. It's tough.
So for those of you that's in the chat, if you had an opportunity to open up Stadium Club, regardless of format, go ahead and drop in the comments below. What are your thoughts about Stadium Club? I mean, seeing is one thing, but you actually getting into a box, whether it's a blaster, whether it's a compact or a hobby, it's a completely different story. But I mean, no complaints from me.
No complaints on my end. It makes you think about the cards when it's not something you're just going to go through the first like 7 cards and boom. Okay. You know that they're not going to have anything like flagship or something like that. You know where the hits are. This, you really have to look at the cards. We started to find a little bit of a correlation where the first 5 or 6 cards were nothing. And then you get to the 6th, 7th, and 8th. And that's where your red parallels would be your possible numbered cards. And every pack has a chrome card in it too, which is really nice.
Which,
last year there were
Club Chrome. Yep.
Exactly. So they're basically mixing Stadium Club Chrome with Stadium Club, which is nice. Right. Last year it was really difficult to pull a chrome card. They weren't, you weren't getting 16 chrome cards per hobby box.
Yeah. So now for 2025 Stadium Club, is there something that you wish would have been included in this year's release?
I can't think off the top of my head, because right now I think they went well above everyone's expectations with the design and and the inserts too. The inserts, right. I mean, like some of them look like they're out of Cosmic. They really did their work on the designs of the inserts. It's not boring like flagship. It's like, oh, we got another year of this or another year of that. I did really like it. Balance the team sets. Yeah, that would be good too. But if you look at the base card, you look at the base checklist, there's not really many bad players in there. It's kind of like you're talking the top of the line with your current players, and of course your Hall of Famers, retired players. It's kind of a top of the line checklist in there where you're really not getting any duds, right, except when it comes to the autographs.
Yeah. Okay? But I think
that's where it changes.
They're able to control that with those veterans, like you mentioned, having the veteran checklist available at their hands for all the players they have licenses for. They can plug in and take out X player and put in Kirby Puckett and Frank Thomas and all these other guys.
Mm-hmm.
What's one change you want to add to that you think should have been in there, Arnie?
Last year's chromes. You knew you weren't making the chrome again, so you did the 90 card checklist, and you made them harder to pull, and it's a nice set to build. If you do like the chrome, you do have to open up X amount of product. Now that's changed with 1 card per pack. So you're sitting there at a 300 card full checklist. Now the chromes are not rare anymore to me. It's just another purple, pink, sepia, whatever from every other release. It just killed it for me, in my opinion. Because I'm a set builder. I love it like anyone else, but I'm 50 some cards. I'm 40 cards away on the 23 set. Those chromes are not easy to get through trades or buying. They're not very expensive, but they're tougher to pull. The bigger names are good. And then the other argument is a lot of people like it because they can get a chrome card of their favorite player and a rookie because they're not making chrome. Well, that's kind of like the 1 box per case in a heritage case to get the purple chromes.
Right.
It's makes it more rare. It makes it more fun to chase that set if you want to go and build the whole thing. But yeah, that's the only thing. 10 to 15% less in price, and that 90 card checklist was great. And now it's the full 300 for chrome. Otherwise, it's amazing. I love it. Wish I would have bought more.
Yeah, me too.
At the
For
beginning.
me personally, I think what they should do with Stadium Club is what they should have done, like how they did with Flagship. Come up with an identifier for an image variation. You know how you got your
the golden
mirrors?
mirror?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something similar to that.
Because outside of the rookie variation that you have, here, I think I have one in here. It's not an auto, but it's the non-auto. The non-auto of Heston. It's that same design, non-auto. This is the design variation, but it's the same image on the base card. And then you have the holiday. You have the haze here with the auto.
Yeah.
But they do have regular image variations of cards that you have to know the cards.
Like right there.
There you go.
Like the Rushman. I knew it as soon as I pulled it. I said that's the image variation on that one. You know, because it's, you don't see baseball players in their suits playing baseball. So
that looked like something that you would actually find in Big League Game Day Drip.
Yeah.
You know, so
yeah, that's another one that I think you had the Julio of that, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
Mr. Fuego, yeah. And that was a very, very tough to pull from Big League. That's a really short printed card.
A few new people in here. We got Chuck and Jeff, Titus. Welcome aboard.
Okay, so reading on shelves that they are saying Heritage High number will not be released till 2025. Not surprised.
Is that released on their site that they're going to get them, or is that from Topps?
Probably on their site, because we don't have anything yet. Yeah, we don't have anything yet on the release calendar for 2025 just yet. So, I mean, Stadium Club, love it. Hopefully the prices don't keep jumping as the years pass. So we'll see. But in different aspects, some products, the prices actually did change, and it kind of hurts the soul. So the next release that we got coming up is Bowman Draft. Okay. And prior to what Arnie just mentioned with the 40% bump, we're looking at a Bowman Draft hobby box. And right now, the prices for that is $520, and the jumbo is $740. Okay, so I mean, format is still the same. It's just the price is different. There's no specific release date on this just yet. They have released a checklist, but I mean, the checklist is so liquid. We don't really know who's gonna be that guy or those guys. And what they did last year with the whole Tom Brady thing, nothing's been announced for this year's release if they planned on doing one. Now, I do know for a fact, Mike, you are staying far away from this. You actually put out a restraining order on it.
Yeah, I put out. It's not to come within 10 miles of my house.
Okay.
So that's going to take out a few LCSs that I have, but the LCSs that I have around me would not carry that product anyway.
Yeah.
It's way, way, way too expensive. You know what? It's a lot of people are in the prospecting cards. A lot of people are in the Bowman. I'm not into this as much as I'm into regular. I'd rather buy regular Bowman than this. Right. It's a crapshoot. It's prospecting. Who are the big names in here? I don't even know who the big names are. I know that Dylan Cruz is going to be in here, but is that his first card? I don't know. I don't know enough about the prospects to say why did it jump up so much in price. That's the thing I don't understand. I don't hear the hype around the prospects in this. If anybody knows, please let me know, because I don't.
Yeah. What you think, Arnie? Because I know you bought into a Bowman Draft last year. Okay, Arnie's got some unforeseen circumstantial issues going on.
He's got daddy daycare going on there tonight, so
can't knock him for it.
No,
but they did have the pre-order occurred this past Wednesday. And obviously, as you can see, everything is out of stock. And more than likely, the reason for the out of stock is because everybody who has an account with Topps and who actually have a presence on the breaking sites, Fanatics, Loot, whatnot, they done got their hands on this stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then to make matters worse, the original prices were what I mentioned earlier. Just imagine what the breakdown for the teams would be if you incorporate the profit that these breakers are looking to make out of these products.
Well, even if you looked at $500 some just for
Mm-hmm.
one box, you're looking at an average of just say $18 a team.
Yeah.
Just flat out average.
And that's even for a low tier team too, like the Rockies, for example.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you took all 30 teams, put it in together, would average out to $18 a team. But then again, there's, depending on who's the hot player, the prices are going to go up. The teams' prices are going to go down on teams. So I kind of stay away from the prospect market. I think I think there's just more hype than there is reward.
Yeah.
Because right now the print runs are on everything is so high, but you really don't see this set coming down in price though. You really don't see it. Maybe until maybe 2 years later. It doesn't come down quickly. It only goes up in price until you find out that 99.5% of the prospects in here turn out to be just your average player.
Yeah.
Those big players don't come along that often. When they do, they seem to, you might get a couple in 1 year and then nothing the next year.
Yep.
So
I agree.
let all the experts or so-called experts that like to hype up a certain player, let them hype it up, and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, my quick take on the Bowman draft is going to be, I guess we'll start with the hobby side. They know that this is their bread and butter where they make the most money, whether it's a breaker or just a card shop in general. So I think with the increase in price, Fanatics Topps just trying to grab as much as they can back in terms of raising the prices.
Yeah. Because I mean, they made it enticing last year for the Tom Brady chase, and that particular superfractor has yet to be pulled. Apparently, it may have been pulled. The person who pulled it is probably just doing their best to remain behind closed doors.
Exactly.
But everybody and their brother was looking forward to picking up the Nationals just for that Brady card. So, and
it's pretty bad when you put out a baseball product and you have to have somebody from another sport. Although he was drafted by the Expos, I get that, but somebody popular from another sport to sell your product.
Yeah, it's crazy, but I don't know. I guess it's just a matter of time before Fanatics decides to incorporate some type of incentive with this. Maybe there's going to be some type of secret squirrel release or addition to that they're going to add to this product upon release.
Throw another Paw Patrol card in there or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, the Paw Patrols are that's something.
Yeah.
But going back to the reviews real quick, so they just added an incentive in the Allen and Ginter line.
We were talking about this earlier.
Yes. So for those of you who are not aware and you've actually broke into Allen and Ginter, Topps is putting out an incentive that there is a card that could be your ticket to a Hollywood feature in an upcoming movie. Now, prior to the live stream that we just did a little bit earlier this afternoon, we looked up who the screenwriter was, and not very popular. Okay, and I'm quoting this off of Instagram. So basically, this card could be your ticket to Hollywood. Screenwriter Charlie Wachtel is offering an extra role in his next movie to whoever pulls this card. And the card that he has is actually a card of him. And basically, he wrote, pull this and be an extra with an autograph in it. Okay. So, I mean, I don't know how you all feel about being in a Z-rated movie.
I want nothing to do with Hollyweird. That's just me. I get the release. I get the stuff that it's kind of fun where we had Big League. I'll follow you. You know, if I have an Instagram account, you pull a Mike Trout. That's great for the kids. I don't know how I feel about that. Now, listen, if it's all expenses paid and it's a vacation and you can bring a guest and you make something up, great. That's awesome. You know, but it's an extra. It's not a roll in something, right?
Yeah. But this is Allen and Ginter, and this is something that's more in that niche of Allen and Ginter.
Sure. If it's paid for, then yeah, I'm all for it. Because even if you don't like it, you got a free trip, a hotel room, and airfare. That's great. It's not for me, but you know, have at it.
We need to come up with better incentives. Something a little more enticing, because I'm pretty sure
you don't need anything to sell that product, though. If that's what they were doing this for, to sell more product, you don't need that for Ginter. Ginter stands on its own. There's
more than likely that was probably the rhyme or reason behind the incentive.
Because if you're going to compare, we have to sell more flagship, we have to sell more update, we have to tweak first series, second series update. Okay, you can play with those. I get that. But what are you comparing Ginter to? What do you try? What do you need? Who's in competition for that? There's nothing that
there is no competition.
That's for sure. And then you're only in competition with yourself. So to me, it's, I don't know. I will say this: I was very, very surprised about some of the comedians and some of these players or people in there, I should say, and what they sell for.
Yeah,
my Lord,
I know
they're selling for like way more than a baseball player.
Yeah,
auto does. I mean, you pull a Mike Trout mini frame card. I think. Rippin' and Flippin' pulled one. Maybe it's a few $100, and then you pull a comedian, it's going for the same price.
Mm-hmm.
So that was surprising to me.
Yeah, I mean, how many Mike Trout baseball cards are there, and how many baseball cards are of this comedian?
Right.
Yeah, just the one release.
I mean,
good way to look at that too. There's always listen, if we all have our opinions, I think there's always going to be a flip side to everything, or a other side of the fence type deal, and that's just the way I look at it right now. And I wasn't a fan of Ginter for a long time. I'm like, I don't want to get a card of the skillet or the egg. I want more baseball cards. But you're buying it to get the same chance of that auto of a Trout as you're trying to get the auto of Chuck Norris, or who I'd love to have, or Daly. Or
and that would be an awesome incentive. You know, if you pulled an autographed Chuck Norris card, you get to meet the man.
Like the one of one. Yes, it comes with a meet and greet, you know, and it's a private signing. You got 15 minutes or a half hour or lunch with them or something. You could bring some items. And we all watched him in some capacity. The guy's 100 years old. So all of us watched him in some capacity.
I saw him in the movie theaters in the 70s, for God's sake.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely. But I don't plan on chasing any roles in any Z-rated movies, let alone just going to damn California. That's just me. Okay. So that's just me. All right. So I think we've beaten update to death already, so I'm not going to bring about that one. All right. So December 8th. Okay. It's going to be that time where Baseball Writers Association of America starts gathering their votes to determine the next class to be enrolled in, to be enshrined into the Baseball Hall of Fame. On top of that, this year we also have the classic baseball era announcement also. And as of right now, there's 8 names that's a part of this list. And those names happen to be, we got Dick Allen, we have Ken Boyer, Steve Garvey, we have Tommy John, well known throughout the game, Dave Parker, Louis Tyant, John Donaldson, Vic Harris, and that's the last. So I'm taking this article from Sports Card Daily, and basically the question that we spoke about briefly was, with these individuals being up for nomination into the Hall of Fame, if they get enshrined, do we see a bump in their rookie cards?
From the vintage side of things that I pretty much collect almost exclusively, I do have other cards, but that's my main focus. It's always been vintage. 100%. 100%. Biggest snub on this list is probably Richie Allen there in the 64 that you're showing.
Yep.
I'd say he's number one. And then the more you read into all these players, I think all of them should get in, you know. But I think we talked about it briefly where these guys were in an era where there was just so many players like this, so many great players. It was just, and these guys were doing it against some of the best pitching and putting up stats comparable to other Hall of Fame players, and just didn't get in because of how good that era was of baseball.
Which was so many players going in at the same time.
Yeah,
that where the standard back then was 500 home runs or 300 wins or 3,000 strikeouts for a pitcher.
And I'm no expert on the time on ballot or the rules as they've changed, because they're going to have to change, you know, as we move on, as the game changes with like pitching. You know, there's not going to be a single pitcher in the Hall of Fame ever again the way the game's played.
Yeah, I don't.
Bases and that. So I think the rules probably have changed. I don't follow that part. Maybe someone in the chat can chime in. How many years does a guy stay on the ballot? Is it more now than it was back in the 60s? Or the 70s?
Right now, you got 10 years to get to the Hall of Fame.
So what was it in the 80s when these guys retired in the 70s when they were eligible in the 80s or late 70s? Was it different?
Was
it 4 years? Is that why these guys didn't get in? Because there was so much better talent. You know, maybe Adam in the chat would know because he collects a lot of vintage as well. Yeah, Ken Boyer for sure. The guy was amazing. But, you know, you start to look at these guys' stats and say, how did these guys not get in? That's my only thought process would be, maybe they didn't get in simply because of the length of years on the ballot was different back in 70s and 80s and 90s.
Yeah. I mean, because like we was harping on guys like Tommy John, for example, you know, and he's not the only one. I know there's one or two more in here, but there's a couple in here that are close to that 300 wins. There's some players that have very similar resumes that are already in the Hall of Fame. You know, I think there was one that we compared to Harold Baines, and he made it. You know, Harold Baines made it. I think it was Dave Parker, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, it was Bryant.
Well, yeah, the Cobra as well. He's, you know, people have been saying, and he's not in really great health right now. But if you like the documentary stuff, there's a nice 1 hour episode. If you just YouTube it, it's probably the most popular, searched by most popular or highest rated. But it's a good watch. And, you know, you hear stories like that and you start to look at these older players and go, man, you blink now and you go, well, we watched Miguel Cabrera, 500 home runs, Triple Crown winner, great player. But we kind of forget about it because we take it for granted. Albert Pujols, 700 home runs. Yeah, we got to watch him play in all-star games and online and all that. And then these people get out of the game or they retire and they get in the Hall of Fame and you're like, wow, that went by quick. But we look back at these old players, at least I do, and I always wonder what it was like to watch them. How did they play? I think that's the allure that draws me to the vintage. I always liked that part of the game where it was the big unknown. So, but I also find myself taking it for granted where, you know, I watched Miguel Cabrera play a lot here in Cleveland because he's in the same division. There's just another guy like, this guy's amazing, and he killed everybody's pitching, especially Cleveland. Yeah. But then he's gone, and you're like, man, okay, well, this is one of the greatest of all time. But you don't think of that when they're playing at 250 home runs. You don't think of that. You acknowledge it late on when it's like, oh man, I really probably should have paid more attention to that guy.
So what about those players that surpassed current Hall of Famers that's in now that didn't even play in this league now, like the Negro Leagues?
Yeah, that's tough to say. The only time I actually dove into that was at the All-Star Fan Fest when it was here in Cleveland. I believe that was 2018. And they had an amazing display. All the women's baseball you know, how much it played a part. You know, we're talking 80, 90 years ago, and you take that stuff for granted, and people knock women in baseball, but it's like they had a huge part in it too, a long time ago. What's the movie with what do you call it? Oh,
League of Their Own.
Yeah, Adrian's channel. Yeah. It's been on that. So yeah, it was really nice to see. But they had an amazing display of the Negro League Hall of Fame and everything set up there. So if you ever go to an All-Star game and you can't make the actual game, go to the Fan Fest. The hat selection from every minor team, you'll have your team, and they'll have 20 to 30 hats from the old stuff to the new stuff. Every minor league team that there ever was, and it's the biggest wall display you've ever seen of hats.
Right.
But you get to see the different logos. Then you go to another part of the display, and it's the Negro Leagues, the women, and then obviously the MLB Hall of Fame. So they travel with that stuff to each location every year, and that's worth a ticket if you could just go and park and pay for that just to get in and walk around. That's something I would say would be a thing to do if you can't make it to the game and it's too pricey to do that.
Right.
And I don't follow these guys as much, but the numbers these guys put up is crazy.
It is. Like, for example,
yeah.
I'm looking at John Donaldson right now. Okay. The number one pitcher that's got the most recorded wins is Cy Young with, if I'm not mistaken, 511 wins.
Yep.
John Donaldson, he's got 405 wins and over 5,000 strikeouts, but he is nowhere on the list of all-time greatest pitchers.
I think now I think with Gibson and all those guys getting a lot more attention now, this is going to be a common theme here every year for the this alternative ballot. What did you call it? The Veterans Committee. Yeah, the Veterans. Yeah. So I think it's going to be a regular thing where we see more of that.
I think it's about time, you know, because in you know, the Baseball Hall of Fame, it's not the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. It's the Baseball Hall of Fame. And it should cover all aspects of baseball like basketball has been doing for years, you know. And I think this is a good time to actually take a look at these players that, first of all, they don't have cards. You know, they don't have baseball cards. I kind of wish that they do. They've been reprinted onto cards. Like, how many cool Papa Bell cards do we see in Donruss all the time and stuff like that? But you really don't know about them. And right. I think this is going to, you know, expand baseball outside of MLB and say, hey, you know, let's take a look at these players, because Arnie, you and I were talking back then. They weren't playing against these, you know,
mailmen. The guys look like a mailman. No offense to mailmen, because that's a good living. But
plumbers, carpenters,
the carpenters, you know, the phone guys, the electrical. Yeah,
there was some these guys really good talent, but because of the times, you never knew about it.
Yeah, we compared it to marketing. You know, the way the game was presented to us or available. You know, just because McDonald's sells a ton of stuff, it doesn't mean it's, you know, a great burger. It's food, but it's not the greatest, but they sell a lot more than everyone else. So it's kind of the same thing. It's what you're introduced to. And listen, if there was anyone going to a sporting event and today caring about who's on their team and this guy does this or this guy came from that, we have the international draft. We have the Arizona Fall League, the Florida Coast League.
Florida Coast League,
yeah. There's so many different ways. Baseball's all year round. You can watch all these minor kids. It's great. You know, there's something for everybody. You can't afford an MLB game, go to your local game that's a single A, double A.
Yeah, go to double A,
$15, you get a food pass, you get a drink pass, free parking, and sometimes you get fireworks. I mean, for $20 a person, you're in and out, and you get some.
If you just want to go and watch baseball, that's what you do. Yeah, no doubt about it. And the thing is, you know,
those guys would play pickup games before there was any type of leagues. These guys were playing pickup games in fields before there was any organized baseball.
Yeah.
Now, all those players that were in the major leagues, you know, Dick Allen, Tommy John, Luis Tiant, Garvey, Parker, I watched those players play. And, you know, when the Phillies would play the Pirates and Parker come up, you know, you get with runners on base, you get that sinking feeling like, oh, wow, he's going to do some kind of damage. The same with Steve Garvey.
Parker had the first $1 million deal.
I think it was him and Schmidt were right around the same time they got the $1 million deal.
Per year it was Cobra, meaning per year. He got the multi-million dollar contract, but the first $1 million per year, I believe it was the Cobra. And then right away, the fans just ate him up, and then,
like look at that now. $1 million back in 1980, 81, 82, whenever it happened, was a lot of money.
It was.
We put attention real quick to
nothing compared to today.
Joe's comment
your rookies
here.
are making pretty much that.
Right.
But
I'm okay. Well, I mean, I think we all three can agree if they do get in, they will get a bump in their collectability, but it's going to likely be short term.
It'll be short term because if you look at the previous years, was Jim Cott got in, and a lot of people that do collect, that don't do set builds like I do or anyone else. Let's say you do a player run or you do a team run, you probably already have those cards. But if you're just a Hall of Fame collector and you have to have that card of everybody that's in a rookie, and maybe you have to have it in a PSA 4 or whatever grade you like, or ungraded, or you like them in rough condition, whatever it may be, you're going to see a spike in those sales. But a lot of people have been buying up Allen and cards like that for many, many years, anticipating this. It's just a matter of time. And do you have the money to go buy it now while it's cheap? Because if he does get in, does the FOMO start to set in and go, oh, I got to have that now. He's a Hall of Famer. I wasn't going to buy it before. So it's kind of the same thing we do with modern players. Do you believe in this guy at this price? Well, he had a bad year. Well, a lot of people do that with investments. Well, yeah, you bought this stock at $2. Now it's down to 50 cents. Do you buy more? No, you just usually stick with it. But the smart move is, well, you just buy more and then you'll do better. But from collecting, okay, Julio had a little bit of a down year. Do you take that approach, right?
Right.
In Fuego, he's like, no, I could buy my cards cheaper now. Great.
Exactly.
Same thing with me. Quan went up like this, then he went back down, and I started buying more, and now he went back up, and I'm like, no, I'm not paying $1,000 for an orange rookie. That card could be $200 next year if he bats 220. I'll just wait. I'm patient because I collect him. I'm not selling them. Same thing with Fuego. That's his PC guys. So there's a different approach for every player, every guy. But I think we'll see a bump with these guys. So if you see anybody on this list, and guys, you can get these cards very, very affordable, under $30-$40, ungraded, mid-grade condition for good rookies. You can get a PSA 7, I believe, of Parker for probably $40, $50, $60 sent to the house.
I mean, if
it's a great card, and that card's going to double in price. But
if you're a true collector, the grade should be irrelevant.
Buy the best card for your budget and stay within your budget, and you will be happy all the time.
Yes. Real quick, I want to go ahead and acknowledge my brother for dropping a super chat and his little comment. In his mind, apparently, I'm sitting in a booster seat. No, I'm not in a booster seat, just so you know. And I appreciate the super chat once again.
He grew out of the booster seat.
And you guys have to pay $20 to insult Fuego, okay? So just so you know, it's 20 a pop. It starts from there and the levels go up. If you would have spent 50, you could go get a little more aggressive. But
the question that I have for you, Fuego, with this, and I don't think we brought it up, is how many players are going to get in out of that 8?
Out of this 8?
Can they all get in?
I don't think so. I thought it was.
Well, I mean, there's that possibility.
Is there a limit?
I
don't know.
It's not going to happen.
I'll go back up to 75. Go back up a little to your screen. It said something about 75%. Right there.
Yeah, it's still the same rule. They got to get 75%. So they got to get 12 of 16 votes.
Gotcha.
Okay.
12 of 16. Okay.
We're looking at, from what I see here, I'm willing to bet 3. John Donaldson, Garvey, and Tommy John.
Okay. I would go Parker, Dick Allen, and Boyer just based on the skill set. Steve Garvey was famous. Wasn't he a Hollywood guy? He had a lot of fans, a lot of followers. He was I believe he was in Hollywood for a period of time. Still a great player, but deserving of players that I know of, not the Negro League players. I would definitely go with those 3 as my first 3 guess. But I could be wrong on all of them. Like I said, I think all of them are deserving, but that would be my 3 if I had to pick. How about you, Mike? That list of pick 3.
I would be first one would be Richie Allen, Dick Allen. He would be there. Parker would be there. And looking through the numbers, it's really tough because when we went and did a player comparison of these players, you're surprised at how many wins they had, how many strikeouts they had, and they just didn't get in because I think there was just a different, measures back then. And there were so many players getting in at the time, like a Luis Tiant was overshadowed by the likes of Steve Carlton going in the Hall of Fame, or Jim Palmer, or Colfax, all those players in that era, Bob Gibson. So he was kind of down. Tommy John's another one. I would probably, if I had to go with 3 from that list, it would probably be
back up again for you.
Okay, yeah, it would probably be Dick Allen. Oh wait, and then you forget about Ken Boyer. Ken Boyer had numbers rivaling Mickey Mantle for a couple of years right there. So maybe it would be Dick Allen, Ken Boyer, and Dave Parker. It's a shame that I don't know enough about the Negro League players.
Yeah, I had the same list, and that's why I didn't want to say anything, because I don't know about those guys.
I don't know. I mean, he said the one pitcher had 500 or 400 some wins and over 5,000 strikeouts.
Yeah,
it's
John
like,
Donaldson.
yeah, but I just, where are his stats? And, he's not heard of, unfortunately. Vic Harris, another one, which I don't know.
And this goes back to the Gibson with, what's it?
I mean, look at Gibson
home run,
right now. He's not even home runs. He's the hit king because he surpassed Ty Cobb.
Yeah.
Well, just how good he was now, finally getting recognition starts to bring light to these other players here on this list. I don't know, but I think in the comments here, Adam said 1 to 3, and those 3 that I picked, that's just more of the popular opinion, I think, because I don't know about these other players, but obviously I know about Tiant and then Tommy John,
right,
stuff like
and
that.
Larkin just mentioned that back then players stayed on the ballot for 15 years.
Oh wow,
and
okay,
dropped
Larkin,
to 10 in 2013.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. That's what this is good conversation. It's what makes it fun. Varying opinions, and none of them are wrong, honestly, when you look at this list.
And new players that enter the ballot, they have to get a certain percentage, or they fall right off the first year.
It's 70. If I'm not mistaken, if they don't pass 2% their first year, they're automatically removed.
Yeah, that's another thing that's kind of crazy too. So before it was 15 years a player could stay on the ballot. Now it's only 10.
I'm corrected. It's actually 5%.
Oh, it's 5%. It's even higher than that. Wow.
So you're looking at maybe 7 voters.
Well, it depends how many voters. Yeah, 7 voters have to vote, but the voters only get what? How many votes? They get a first.
They get to pick 10 names.
Okay.
And they don't have to use all 10.
Gotcha.
But now, isn't it coincidental that Luis is on the ballot and he recently just passed away? Are they going to do the same thing with Pete Rose?
I don't know.
And once he passed, we all saw that his cards jumped up for maybe 2-3 weeks.
Yeah. But Pete Rose was never on any of the original ballots. So would he go on as the first time to, not the classic baseball era ballot? He would actually go on to the actual ballot itself.
That would be a tough one because you're first eligible for the consideration after 5 years.
Correct, but it doesn't say how many years after that you're eligible or not. You're only eligible after 5 years.
And that's the point we're trying to make, Larkin. Who's to say that Robert Manfred just decides to lift his ban, reinstate him, and then consider him?
I think that would be a bigger snub, because if you pull that move, I think that's a bigger snub, in my opinion.
It take for somebody to kick the bucket, for a lack of better terms.
There you go. You said it, not me.
To be considered for Hall of Fame. Knowing you have the resume for it, you just have a blemish in your career at some point. Does it take for you to kick the bucket to be actually put on there and considered?
He's not in there for doing it while he was playing. He's not in there as a manager. And again, there's arguments to both sides. Whatever I say, there's going to be some other argument that's going to defend what I said. Or
it's kind of like I saw earlier in the chat.
Yes. Oh, there you go. I like Johnny's right there.
Shoeless Joe Jackson.
a part of the if the Hall of Fame isn't part of the MLB, it shouldn't matter. It's the Baseball Hall of Fame. It's not the MLB Baseball Hall of Fame.
No, it's the Writers Hall of Fame is what it's come to.
Yeah,
It's the writers and all their gripes with all the players.
Yeah, I guess that's what it's coming down to, Arnie. Yeah.
I mean, one guy didn't vote for Jeter just because, like,
just because,
and he did it intentionally. Like,
yeah,
whatever. Enough is enough. Like,
it's insane.
It's not about you guys. You know,
Right.
you guys are great at writing. They're great at baseball. Like, stay in your lane. That's my kind of thing.
Exactly.
Like, acknowledge the game for what it is. Don't and if every fan understands where Pete Rose is coming from. And Shoeless Joe Jackson, if you look, he said he went through one of those games, and then if you look at his stats, he had the best stats in that series anyway. So was he really throwing it?
Exactly.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, we'll just have to see who gets nominated come December 8th. And for the actual Hall of Fame consideration, I know the big names that's going to be considered. The top two is going to be Ichiro and CC Sabathia. So I fully expect
first ballot.
Let's just say if they both get in first ballot, I do expect a significant bump, especially Ichiro.
Yeah. Well, Ichiro's a no-brainer. So is CC. I mean, anybody that's going to look at his career and not acknowledge that. And plus, the guy was an alcoholic too, and now he hasn't had a drink in a long time. He came over
and he's lost weight.
Yeah, and he lost a lot of weight. He's still around baseball. Like, he's not one of those guys. People love the guy. You know, like Perez for the Royals right now. You go to watch the All-Star games, everybody loves that guy. There's certain guys in the league now and that recently retired in the last 20, 30 years. Everybody loves them. There's nothing bad to say about them.
Yep.
So, I don't know. But there'll be someone to say that they're not going to vote. They're not going to give the vote to him, or they're not going to see it that way.
Definitely. Well, so we'll just have to see and play that one by ear. But there's two players that were switched over to new teams effective opening day of 2024, made a significant impact on the teams. As a matter of fact, both teams faced off against each other in the World Series. Didn't like the outcome, but that's for another argument. So for the first one we're gonna go ahead and bring up is Shohei Ohtani. Okay, so we know Shohei was a phenom when he was with the Angels. Okay, he actually was a two-way player. You know, he was batting, he was pitching, he got MVP. He's got all these accolades. The only thing he was lacking was a World Series championship. Now, his collectability was up there as an Angel. Okay. Now, I don't know about you, gentlemen, but I saw a little more of a spike for him as a Dodger now. Would you both agree?
I think there's more of a market for Dodger players than there are Angel players. His push for the MVP didn't hurt either.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. I mean, I think that's why you saw the bump.
We saw the bump with that. He is also the first and only player to be in the 50-50 club.
Mm-hmm.
He now has a ring, so I guess you could say now he surpassed the myth of greatness compared to Mike Trout. Would that be a safe statement?
I don't know. Mike Trout's great. He's amazing, but first year out of the team and then with a new team and then gets a ring, you know, there's another thing to talk about for him.
So I pulled up some of Shohei Ohtani's rookie cards, and this is what we're seeing, okay? But before we get to that, as you can see by the green line, this green bar graph represents his autograph, okay? And the last one that actually sold was on the 13th of October of this year for $13,800. Okay. Now, mind you, his average sale in 588 days. And where I got those dates from was I took basically opening day from last year till today. All right. So on the high, that particular card went up as high as $21,000, which means
Great.
a lot of individuals were picking up this card, whether it's going to be for their collection, whether it was to be as an investment. Regardless, it attracted more individuals to buy this particular card. And on the low end, we're looking at $6,700, which is basically a bump of 106%. And the price in dollar value, just over $7,000. Okay. Now, is this something that will remain plateaued going into opening day, or because next opening day, he'll likely be back to pitching?
I know that the Dodgers gave him a contract to be a player and a pitcher. I think it depends how bad the Dodgers need pitching. That's what it comes down to. He got hurt both times in his career from pitching.
Right.
And if you're paying that kind of money, I don't, what do you want to do? Do you want him to get hurt pitching a game, or do you want him to play a full season and get you 50 home runs and knock you in a bunch of RBIs? It's kind of a, what do you want? You want to take the risk of him, pitching and then having to, DH.
I mean, I could see your point, Mike. This is definitely a high risk, high reward, because if he does,
how much of a reward is it though if he pitches? I mean, what are his stats when he actually pitches? Is he that great of a player? And if he wins the Cy Young Award, for some reason, and wins the Cy Young, he'll be the first player to win a Cy Young for pitching and a Cy or an MVP for pitching, or Cy Young for pitching and an MVP for the for hitting. So what are his? I'm just curious as to what his pitching stats are.
Okay, so his pitching stats from 2023, his ERA was 3.414. He started in 23 games.
Mm-hmm.
He went 10-5, 132 innings pitched, allowed 85 hits, 18 home runs, 167 strikeouts.
Okay, so he actually does have really good pitching numbers.
And he won the MVP that year.
If he stays healthy.
Uh-huh.
If he stays healthy. But then again, it comes down to that's how he got hurt from pitching.
But I mean, you could see that he's pretty consistent, minus 2020, where his ERA was 37.
Well, 2020 only pitched one game?
That
was COVID year, 1.2 innings pitched. Yeah. So you could throw that one out, and the whole 1.2 innings that he pitched, the whole.
But look at everything else: 21,
318,
22, 233, 314 in last year.
Yeah.
And then in 21 is when he also won his first MVP.
Yeah.
And then in 22 he came in fourth for Cy Young consideration.
Yeah, I guess it's because the past couple of years it's been like his hitting, or actually last year, but I always see him as a hitter and not as a pitcher. I guess because he was on the Angels, and they don't show like all the pitching and stuff like that. It's more heavy on the hitting, the highlights, and all that. Right. So yeah, those numbers are pretty impressive. They're really impressive for pitching, but I don't know if you take that kind of risk. I could see him coming in for a spot start or something like that. I mean, if they went to a 6-man rotation, That
and
might be it.
that's the reward that I was
Yeah.
talking about. Now
Yeah.
the Dodgers have the opportunity of going into opening day with a 6-man rotation.
Yeah. Yeah, because that could be your sixth starter, which, you know, a sixth starter for the Dodgers would be a second starter for most teams,
Yes.
you know. So yeah, I can see that. I can see that happening, but you know, I don't see putting him out there every 5 days to pitch. That's the one thing I don't see.
Touche. Any thoughts, Arnie?
I think he's right on. I don't think they need to. I think that's a good point. They don't need to. So the Dodgers, keep in mind, they had injuries like every other team.
Mm-hmm.
They were better than this. So was every
yeah.
other team. I mean, look how good the Braves did. They lost a bunch of people, and they were still right there. So my thoughts on all these teams getting healthy or some new players getting injured. The Dodgers had just as many injuries as everybody else.
I thought the Dodgers were done when they lost Glass now.
Yeah. Well, look at the last. I mean, look to close out the game or the series. Look at the World Series.
Yeah.
So you get one of your aces back, and then the guy pitches amazing. So it's hard to say with any of these teams. Like, oh, what would the Indians have done if they had Bieber? What if they? Well, none of this other stuff would have probably happened if they had Bieber. What if they had any of these other pitchers? What's his name? Spencer Strider. What if he was healthy?
Mm-hmm.
Then did the Braves go further?
Yeah.
What if Acuna was there? Like, you can do that with all these teams, but I just don't think they need to rush with anything with Ohtani, especially with this other shoulder issue.
Makes a good point. So right now we got another Japanese phenom pitcher that the Dodgers are targeting.
Sure,
if they do manage to pick him up, will they just keep Ohtani as a DH, or will they incorporate him into the pitching rotation somehow?
You know what, though? I don't know how an injury to a well, put it this way. Let's say he gets injured pitching. Can he still hit? If he gets injured hitting, can he still pitch? You know what I mean? Like, if he gets injured on an opposite where he can't swing the bat or his hand, but it's his glove hand and he can still pitch. So listen, that's a great problem to have if you're spending $700 million on a guy and they're going to be in the mix for all these other players. That's the fun part of this stuff.
Yeah.
Not that we care like where these people land, because we do, but I think the talk is more fun than the actual landing spot sometimes.
Agreed.
You know,
because I mean,
because that's what the chat's saying. Like, everyone here is going to have their own opinion. Magnus just jumped in with something. Everyone's got good points, and they're all valid. But they can only go one place. So,
because I mean, let's just say that the Dodgers do pick up Sasaki. This would likely be the first time in MLB history a team has a 7-pitcher rotation.
Oh, I think we're going to see more of that, though, with the way these guys are being pitched. I think they're going to have to carry more. But what happens is that's a strain on your bullpen when you go to the playoffs, because they trim down that roster. So you have to make some big time decisions. And if you don't do it right, or you leave a guy off that was playing good, you're going to get roached as a manager. They're gonna come for you. I mean, it's like, oh, it's his fault. Why did he leave him off the route? Well, he was pitching great. Well, he was doing this. Like, we're all experts after the fact, but that's how sports go. Once the game's over, it's like, he should have done X, Y, and Z. But I think Infuego's right. We're going to see a lot more of that, and that ties into that, Hall of Famer talk. Where what do they do with these guys that are borderline Hall of Famers?
Mm-hmm.
These pitchers aren't going to get to 300 wins.
No.
After the handful we see now. So we're seeing a different type of game.
For Hall of Very Good.
We're going to see a different type of managing. We're going to see a different type of roster or playoff rosters, and then we're going to see more bullpen action. A lot of those guys that were 5th and 6th starters get moved to the bullpen for those guys, not closers, but the guys that can do 2 or 3 innings. If your guy has a rough outing, let's say your ace only goes 5 or 4 in a playoff game, you're going to be able to throw in another guy right out of the bullpen to go give you 3 or 4 or 5 strong. That was a starter. So I think we're going to see more of that, and then still maintain that 1 inning closer. That's just how I feel it's going to change over the next whatever many years, because the way the pitch clock, not so much the pitch clock, but what I think changed a lot of this is the lead off at first base. that throw over twice, I think that has more impact on it than anything. I don't know stats behind it. I'm sure they're out there. But to me, that just doesn't seem right. The whole idea of dancing around out there for a 10 or 12 pitch at bat and, oh, now I can run and get a huge lead because you didn't catch me the first 2 times. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But
so
it has its pros and cons like everything else.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And it'll probably be just as bad with this next player. And who I'm talking about, let me just pull him up, is Juan Soto.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
Cash Soto.
Again, green line represents his Bowman First Auto. Okay. Last one sold on the 25th for just under $4,000. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is taking a little bit of a dip.
Yeah.
Now, we do know that, and Arnie brought up a good point when we was doing just before the live stream, where a lot of these big name autographs in Bowman products are very hard to come by. But when they do come by, okay, they come full force. So just like Juan Soto, all right, his average is about $2,600. Okay. There's been 26 sales of this. So
does it show the oldest sale in Fuego for that 26, the top column there? Is there a way to see if we can find the oldest sale on that card you're on right now?
Yeah, the oldest one dates back to April 3rd because I have it from opening day last year till today.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's a good.
And it went for $2,400.
So speculation, new team, someone took a gamble.
Right now, the last sale, it spiked to about 3.9. And as you can see, you got the little roller coaster going on.
Where was that low point? Right before the biggest peak. Is that
right
October?
over here?
Yeah. What's the month on that?
This is October 8th.
Yes. So one sale
for just over $2,000, $2,080.
And then go back to that previous page you were on. I think that's the lowest, the 2.08. Go look the lowest. Yeah. So that's telling. So it's so close to where they were. He was having a great every series he played great, and that's the lowest sale.
Yeah. Mind you, these are his numbers for this season: 7.9 WAR, 166 hits, 41 home runs, 288 batting average, 989 OPS with a 178 OPS plus.
His numbers are consistent every year.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Every year he puts up. He's in the running for the MVP every year.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't in the run for the MVP in 24. He was in the run 19, 20, 21, 23, and that's it.
Yeah, 20. I think 20.
21. He was 2. He was second.
Yeah, 22. I think that's when he got traded from Washington to San Diego. I think he was doing much better in Washington than he was in San. Well, not much better. He just had a bad year all around that year. That was his worst year. He had a 246 batting average, and then he went to San Diego, and it went down to 236.
No, I think he's the best hitter in baseball. I that's just my opinion. He goes opposite. He goes all over the field.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if this has a spray chart, but if you look up a spray chart for him,
he just turned 26.
Yeah,
I know. He's still a kid,
and he's shown to be clutch too. The only thing knock on him, which I'm surprised that they didn't do it earlier, but other teams, including Cleveland and including the Dodgers, when someone's got the ball out there, you got to run. He's not throwing anybody out. He has I don't think he has any putouts from outfield. He's got the worst arm.
He does have a couple of saves in right field.
Maybe a couple, but not many. I mean, but for other like Quan, I think Quan has the most in all of baseball or all the American League for this year. So if he had an arm, it'd be Ohtani's a superhero. He's got everything except for an arm out in right field. That's all it is.
I mean,
but other than that, he checks all the boxes. He's a great player.
Any team would pick him up just for his bat.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, but that's what they're going to do with all these other guys.
Defense sucks.
Yeah, It's not terrible. It's just the arm. It's not like he's out there fumbling and dropping fly balls. He just doesn't have the arm strength.
And he's not very fast.
No.
But when you put a bat in his hand, just watch out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
good problem to have. Whoever gets him.
Years old, he won a World Series in 2019. He was what, 20?
20.
Yeah.
20, 21. Going on 20. When's his birthday? Going on 21.
He just turned 26.
He's got a 36.4 career WAR. Where's his home runs? He's at 200 home runs already. Yeah, he's impressive. Someone else mentioned too a while ago. I don't know if maybe it was Beast that brought it up, or maybe you brought it up too, and Beast was commenting because I know he collects them, and a lot of people do. What are your thoughts on him going from team to team? It's right away.
Yep.
It's easy to say, well, he's not getting along with people. That's not true because the deals were different. They're structured differently. He's not there on a 10-year deal with New York and complaining he wants out. He's there for the year, and now it's free agent time. So wherever he goes, it's going to be a long, lengthy career. No contract does really well with those, but he has an opportunity because he is very young. I don't know how old Pujols was and how old Pujols got 2 big deals. I don't know how old Miggy was when he got his first deal, but also Miggy didn't care about his body towards the end, so that's a tough comparison.
Yeah.
Look at Harper. I mean, when the guy's healthy, he's great, but people get injured.
Yep.
So
people get hurt.
Yeah.
Yep,
we'll see what happens
with age.
Yeah. I mean, and listen, not to say it's going to happen with Soto, but we can all look around the league for the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years and look in the history books. There's a lot of players that were the best, and then 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and then boom, they just fall off a cliff.
Yep.
If you were in that situation and you were able to sign a 10-year contract with any team, what team would you sign a 10-year contract with? You have your pick.
If it was me, the one with the greater chances of winning a World Series.
Yeah, the best structure, the best front office. And again, I'm from a fan's perspective, I think when these guys have this kind of money already, I don't know if the money really plays into it as much as it does for other places, because these guys play in so many different cities, they get taxed in different rates from wherever they play. I think it's just like football. When you play in a different city or state, you get taxed for that game at this rate. I think that's how it goes. Could be wrong. But these guys are no one's going to do what Jose Ramirez did and take a home team discount and, never saw that kind of money and was happy to be there. And that's a rarity. So these guys go where the most money is. I don't like it, but I don't blame them one bit.
I do not see Soto getting a 15-year contract. There is no way.
No, I don't think these deals over 7 are smart for anybody. As an owner, if I was an owner, I think 7 would be my limit. These guys aren't signing for 5, so 7 is the way to go.
I could see a 10-year deal with him.
You could. I just think 7 is the best from an ownership standpoint. That's just my opinion. For a player, if they want to do 10 and make everything front end loaded, I'll pay you more now. That's beneficial for the owner, because in the long run, when you start to decline, I still want you to run the clubhouse, but I don't want you to be a cancer at $40 million a year and you can't bet 220. And we got rookies playing for $900,000 and, tearing it up for 5 years under control. That's hard to do. It's hard to keep everybody happy when you got that kind of money sitting around and you're just, call it what you want. It killed the Tigers. And then they go out and do another bonehead move and sign Javi. It's like, yeah. But anyway, so.
Okay, Lawson is saying if he's only 26, he should take 5, then get one more monster before the steep decline kicks in.
I would just take the 7 then and stay with the team, and then get an 8th and 9th and 10-year option, like Fuego said, for a 10-year deal. Do 7.
And that's the question. If you were Soto, what team would you want to sign with?
I don't know, but my guess is he's going to go to the Mets, and then the Yankees are going to sign Pete Alonso, and then they're going to get rid of Brett Beatty. Mauricio's coming up for the Mets. He was a big prospect and a big piece, but he got hurt first game of the year or first preseason game, so he was out the whole year. His cards are dirt cheap. He would have been a hot rookie in the 24 Chrome product. So I think they're going to go that route. That's my guess. If I had to pick somebody now, that's where I think he's going to go.
Okay, so this is a quote.
I agree with.
I agree with this, but I don't even want to read it because I don't trust that guy, Boris.
I don't trust Boris. No.
His focus was always, I want to know who my owner is. I want to know. Yeah, could be very true. Could be 100% true. Good point.
I mean, 9 out of every 10 players love a payday.
Sure.
Okay, there's no doubt about that. But second to that, if not number one, they won a World Series.
Yeah, how much money do you actually need?
Well, here's another thing too. Boris is his name's getting kind of soured around the last few years. It's not what it used to be where he was.
Yeah,
in
he's
control,
been an agent for almost.
but
30
he was
years.
in control a lot of times, and he had the owners by the balls. In my opinion, that's just what it came across as to me. I just think it's different now. I think it's changing a lot, especially with some of these players representing themselves, and these younger agents getting with younger players that maybe didn't work out in the majors but had a good name, and they got into sports management. And
then you had some players that went with folks that really don't have any experience in being an agent with the sports. Like, for example, Robinson Cano, before he left, he was signed with Jay-Z and Rockefeller.
Rock Nation or whatever they call that. That's
Rock
with
Nation.
and I think that's just the cool hip hop, the hot name to be around. But the reality is, does that translate into closed door meetings and getting the right answers? Because think about this: if you've got something that is worth X amount of dollars and it will sell, it's like, let's say it's a baseball card. Stay on topic. Let's say it's an expensive Mickey Mantle rookie, and you got it in your hand. And you're like, I don't need to pay this percent and put this on eBay. I need to pay 13, 15%. I can go to an auction house, and not only will they pick me up, take me to their office, because they're going to make a ton of money on this commission and charge the owner that buys a 20% juice. They're going to market this card, and I'm going to go negotiate. I want this card on the cover of their next auction book that goes out. I want this to be the cover card. It's a PSA, whatever. It's $1 million card. What kind of marketing are you going to do with this card? That's how you shop these guys. I don't think they need to do that with these big players. I want to see those agents like Boris get deals for guys that favor the player for the long
let me
term.
throw this scenario at you from a collecting standpoint. So right now, Soto has played for the Nationals. He played for the Padres, played for the Yankees. Okay. Aside from the Nationals, he's played for pretty decent sized marketed teams. Let's just say, out of sheer luck, the Rockies pick him up. Okay. Where does his collectability go if he's playing out in Colorado?
Oh, it drops tremendously.
Yeah.
And that's fine for me, because I would buy more of them, because I collect guys like that. I collect Tovar. I like guys that are good players. I don't care where they play. I don't care what team they're on. And I follow the stats. I follow the games as best I can. And I tend to collect that way, because in the long run, I think that goes further than what the hype is today. You can tell me how great somebody is, but once the next product rolls out, we got to chase this guy.
So regardless of where your player goes, you're still going to gravitate towards them.
Yeah. I'm not going to change. Like I still slowly, I do have Lindor stuff. But if I buy stuff now, it's just more Lindor stuff from when he was with Cleveland. I'm not buying like new stuff of Lindor. It's more rookies. So I would just try to get more stuff. As the guy continues to play well, I would just like to pick up more rookie cards or certain autos or inserts that I like over the years, but mainly rookie cards. That's kind of how I see it. So yeah, I don't think it changes for me, but from the hobby, to answer your question, yeah, I think it would fall off like a cliff. Like it would drop tremendously if he went to the Rockies.
What you think, Mike?
I agree.
Sadly,
I think they have to be for collectability. Exposure is a lot. You're going to get more exposure from a major city like Los Angeles, New York. In Washington, I mean, he was young and he was a phenom that, when he came up. Now that you're older, I think it kind of really does depend on the cities that you're in, because, there's players that, they go from one team or they go to the Rockies and it's like they disappear. Players seem to disappear. Chris Bryant is one, but Chris Bryant's been hurt. So that led to the disappearance of Chris Bryant. Nolan Arenado, I think if you looked at his collectability, it went up when he went to St. Louis. from Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
What if Juan Soto went to Miami? What would happen then?
Vegas.
It would kind of be the same thing, right there. Nobody pays any interest in the Marlins, So I think where a player plays has a lot to do with collectability also.
Well, from a collectability, I would agree. It would diminish a little bit. It would take a pretty big hit. But as far as just for the sport itself, I would think it's a safe assumption that those players like Soto or Ohtani, for example, if they play for those low tier teams, if Soto's donning a Marlins uniform, he'll bring his following with him.
But is he going to have the same opportunity to win a championship with the Marlins as he would with, say the Mets or the Yankees?
That is unrealistic.
And that has to go along with it too. I mean, you could be the best player on a team, but if the team totally stinks, you're not going to go anywhere. What's the big deal about that? Mm-hmm. I think deep down inside, I think that players want to be competitive, that they want to win. They want to win the championship. But
they want to also get paid, though, because apparently Soto thinks he's just as valuable as Shohei.
Okay. And if someone comes out and says that, that's one thing. But if anyone's going to say it, it's going to be Boris leaked it. He leaked it and puts his name on it to defend his client because he's looking for the biggest payday in history of baseball, which was going to be Soto. Because that deal with Ohtani, and again, the baseball, what do they call that? The Players Association,
right?
They're all going to have a say in that too. With all the other players going, wait a minute, why are you signing all these guys with this deferred money? But does it really matter? Because they're saying it doesn't hurt the team as much, but there's no salary cap. So is it really an argument? I mean, any team can do it. If you want to pay somebody more money, we're just going to give it to you like Bobby Bonilla, $1 million for the next 30 years. So, $1 million in today's money versus 5 years from now, it's a big difference. The money goes down. The dollars.
Well, that's not always the case too, because look at Alex Rodriguez, for example.
Sure.
The Red
Sox
got the
first $200+ million deal.
Not only that, but he was actually expected to be signed by the Red Sox, and he was okay with taking a pay cut. But the Baseball Players Association denied the trade from happening because they felt that he was shortchanging his value. And then that's when the Yankees stepped in and offered him the deal.
But at the time, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing with that in Fuego. We got to remember back then there was only 2 or 3 teams that were even really going to entertain that anyway. Now you have 10 teams that could pay Soto. So I think the way the game has changed, the money, the value of these teams that were sold for $50, $80, $100 million back then, even not even close to that, are worth $1 billion now, $2 billion. I mean, the Indians are like, oh yeah, the Browns are worth $1 billion. Like all these teams, there's no more millions anymore. So I think the money's different. So back then, he's right. Maybe it was a little easier to gauge with a guy like that, where it's a one-off thing and there's only 2 or 3 players. But now you have Harper. I mean, Soto, you have Ohtani, all these big deals. Look at the big deals that didn't work out that they paid all these other guys. I mean, so you have a history now, and you're
Trout's got a hefty deal, and he's on the decline.
His was 40 million a year towards the end here. No, I just think if you're going to do those deals, I think they need to be structured the opposite way. But these teams right now that are trying to get those deals done don't have that leverage. They're trying to use it as, hey, I'll pay you on the back end when this team's worth more. There's more money coming in. The value of the dollar is worth more. So I could pay you less later. And I personally think it's going to be, if I was a player, I would want all that money to help my team. Give me the money up front. Give me 50 million, 45, 40, 40, 30, 20, 10, 10,
right.
And then some club options. And if you're still playing well, then there's incentive base at the end. You can work that out, but now it's different. Well, let me give you 15 million. And then in 5 years, I'm going to give you 75 million for 3 years or whatever it is. That's what I think the players are pissed about. And listen, no one said anything about this, but the fans, as soon as the Dodgers won, that's all you saw in the comments. Well, it was that deferred deal with Ohtani. Listen, Ohtani didn't win that World Series. He didn't pitch. He didn't hit well. It was
he
the rest of
batted
that team.
133 in the World Series.
Yeah, enough. Like
the same numbers as Judge. For
slow
God's
it down
sakes.
a little bit. Yeah. Have some facts with that comment, because it's like that's the easy go-to. Don't blame the owners.
And
Blame your team
I
for not
have
playing
seen
as well.
also a lot of people are saying they should put a salary cap in baseball.
Yeah. No, they don't want a cap. Yeah, you're right. They don't, Jeff. Yeah.
Now, I thought that there was supposed to be some kind of salary cap for a team, but it seems like so many teams are going over it and paying the fine.
And that's where the luxury tax kicks in.
Yeah. So the luxury tax. So what's the big deal if we got so many teams going over it because they know that they can pay it, that they can make it, you know?
But there's only a handful of teams that could do that, though.
Yeah. I mean, if you're, well, just saying Philadelphia, I know they're way over. They're way over. But if you're selling out every night, you know, you're making that money back. So it doesn't really matter. So you can do that. You know, of course, eventually the price of tickets are going to start going up when they don't start selling out, or like be like going to the Yankees game. How much does it cost to go to a Yankees game for 2 seats in the first level?
Unless you're in the playoffs, Yankee tickets are relatively cheap. Because I remember when I took my daughter in 2021, I paid $50 a seat for second deck.
For second deck. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, it just seems like that there's something that the luxury tax isn't affecting the owners like it was supposed to do. You know, maybe it needs to be updated or revamped or something like that. So yeah, so it's just I mean, if you're going to draw the attendance, then you can go over that and not even worry about it affecting your bottom line.
Mm-hmm. So good conversation, good talking points,
and it's going to continue too, because it's going to be a lot of fun to see where these guys go, and then we can kind of translate that to what is everybody in the chat doing with collecting. Okay, he's my PC guy for 3 years. I just stopped buying Lindor cards. I just quit.
Yep.
But you know, if they come available, and now he played a little rough and he wasn't doing as well and he wasn't worth his weight, and then all of a sudden he turned it up second or third month of the year and just took off and had one of the better seasons he's ever had in his career. And now he's relevant again. He's always been relevant. It's just sometimes things happen when you go to a new city and new team. It takes some time to adjust, but
definitely.
I mean, so it'll be fun to see how all this plays out.
The collectability is going to be interesting to watch come the winter meetings.
Yeah, but that's what's great about baseball. We have releases every single month, which sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. The last 3 weeks is going to be rough on the wallet. Don't get me wrong, that's going to suck. But they need to spread these releases out, in my opinion. They need to do something better with the timing. You know, it's tough on collectors.
Yep, but I think looking short range, we'll see the outcome of these awards for the performances of all these players. You know, your Cy Youngs. Obviously, we know the MVPs, Rookie of the Year, and we'll see how their collectability pans out.
Yeah.
Okay, so
absolutely.
Yeah, it's a good point, and it's going to be fun to see if we get any bumps from those awards too. Even though some are already kind of baked in, like
we kind of know some of them.
Definitely. So we are almost at the 90-minute mark.
Yeah.
You know, this was a pretty awesome episode that we had. Any last thoughts, Arnie?
No, great stuff in the chats though. A lot of good, a lot of lengthy comments. Conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like when the chat kind of follows along with topics, and I think if me or you or one of us sits back, whatever day we're on, and just kind of like I have my phone now, I'm just kind of chatting with the group and keeping this going, so it's a little bit more interactive while you guys chat. I think it's great to read some of the opinions because it helps us all.
What about you, Mike?
I have to tag along with Arnie because a lot of people have a lot of great things to say in the chat, you know, and that's what the chat's there for. And you know, they're going along with the, you know, with the topic, which is really nice. And everybody has an opinion. And you know what? You may be thinking along one line and somebody comes up with another opinion, think, oh yeah, you know what? That is true.
Yeah.
You know, and it's good to absorb and take a look at everything.
Yeah, and anyone with any suggestions, feel free to email Infuego and shoot him a message.
Yeah, we're always up for suggestions.
Definitely. So with all that, we're gonna go ahead and end it here because I know for Mike and I, we've been pretty much sitting in front of a computer all goddamn day today.
I gotta go to work tomorrow.
And he's got to go to work tomorrow. So, and I know Arnie's got daddy duties.
Yeah, she's finally in bed. But she's gonna get up any minute now.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and end it here, and we will see everybody next week on Saturday for the next episode.
Yep.
Have a good one, everybody.
Thanks, guys.